just something about Friday high school football that brings a different energy. It's absolutely electric.
There's just nothing like it as far as the pageantry, the excitement, the competition.
The pep rallies and the week building up to the game, and there's only 10 of them.
The joy and happiness and excitement, the anticipation in players, coaches, family, band, cheer.
I just remember coming out that tunnel, then coming out the bubble on that Saguaro field.
Here come the SaberCats.
You just couldn't wait till 7 o'clock till the kickoff came.
All your classmates, your teammates, family members, friends, they all come together in one spot, and they're there to watch you.
To the end zone. What a catch! Rushes on. He's hit. Fumbles the ball.
The outside is going to be picked off.
He's running over people. He scores.
When you're sitting there with a group of your best friends and you've committed to make something happen, it's one of those things that kind of takes you to a new level.
You just know you're going to battle with your teammates, your guys, your brothers. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
I've got several guys that are playing at the highest level right now in the NFL, and they all come back and they tell our guys that it doesn't get any better than Friday nights.
The names change, the coaches change, but that energy, that feeling is always going to be the same.
It's an experience that I've never found anywhere else doing anything else. So I think that's what makes it truly special.
Hello again, everybody. George Allen. He's at the 40. Still on his feet at the 30. And he's off to the races. He's dragged down at the 20-yard line of St. Mary's. We're going to overtime.
Across the middle, it's going to be picked off. Miles on the interception for the Huskies.
Breaks away, going for the touchdown. Stocos holds it in. What a catch! Charger Stadium on the campus of McClintock High School. It's always kind of a special happening when these two schools get together. The top-ranked Chargers of McClintock and the Toros of Mountain View. Hello again, everybody. George Allen, joined by Greg Schulte. Nice to be with you on ASPN.
George Allen, who was pretty much the heart and soul of high school football, had the idea and pitched it, and so we started.
Up the middle, great house, big hole, kicks free. He's at the 10, he's at the 5, he's over for a touchdown.
High school football was important to our customers and the people that we serve. And so what says community more than covering high school football, which didn't get much coverage at the time.
Wide open, Jim Witkowski, touchdown.
George and I were working together at KTAR. They came up with the idea of televising some high school football games on a Friday night. George asked if I wanted to be his partner. I said yes, and the rest is kind of history.
We expect both ball clubs to run. Chandler may come out throwing, McClintock may come out throwing. That's what's going to make this game so exciting.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you with us tonight on ASPN. We think it's going to be one of the top AAA football attractions of the year.
High school sports was the most important thing for George, and I think because of that, it commanded a level of respect around the community that maybe in other places, people would not have gotten.
It wasn't a show for him. It wasn't a guy in a suit that was pretending to love a sport because he was the announcer. No, George loved being around the kids. He loved being around the coaches, the players, and that's what drove him.
The key word with George was sincerity and secondly, passion. You knew he loved what he was doing.
When you go out there, they appreciate it. The high schools love it. They do all they can do for you, and it makes it that much more enjoyable for you to come out and cover a sport where you know that the people who you are covering truly appreciate your being there.
It is picked off by Danny Schmaltz.
He treated it as if it was a professional broadcast.
Right hands off the Wheaton. Good block as Wheaton cuts it back. He's got the first down and a lot more. He may go the distance.
He was just a ball of energy, and it was contagious. So if you were on board, you felt like, I'm just going to follow George into the huddle.
The game is over. It's all over. And St. Mary's reigns supreme in 1985. They win their second straight state championship.
The pride he took It was unmatched, and nobody has come close to matching it in what he did, again, with little information. George would go to the high schools. He might go there every day for a week just to watch the team practice, what they were doing, some of the plays they were going to run over the course of that Friday night game.
Certainly at that point in time, we had game film for teaching purposes, but there was no repeat performances on TV. You know, the families never got to see their kids play. You'd get local news with some little highlight stuff, but no one had ever done a TV game and the kids were able to watch it. Their families, they could tape it, they could send it to relatives. I know for our guys it was a big deal.
Everything that went into that show in terms of research and stats and bios was all George. He was incredibly prepared, and he loved it.
Opening night of the 1994 high school football season from Hudson Stadium.
I felt like, honestly, it was like Monday Night Football. We were going to a different high school football stadium or field every single Friday. And, you know, we took it like it was, you know, a big deal. And so we treated it that way. The challenges were that we were going to a high school field. So, I mean, we had to be completely self-sufficient.
Everybody in the high school community here in the Phoenix area wanted their team on a Friday night game. It was the thing.
Coming off their first loss of the season, the Centennial Coyotes will be in no mood to be hospitable guests tonight.
Once the schedule comes out, they always start asking, do we have a Cox game? Are we going to be on TV? And I go, well, you know, that'll come out later. Will you tell us? Of course I'll tell you. I'll let you know that we're going to be on there.
I think for me, since I got involved in 2007, that's really been that's been the pinnacle of Arizona high school football. If you were able to get a Cox game, you know, you knew that you had a big game and you had a good program.
Turning the corner, Zach Wilson, he's gonna hurl the defender. Touchdown, SaberCats.
It was looked forward because it was another reason to play well and chalk up another win on TV.
3rd and 9. Lob it for McDonald in the end zone. He's got it. Touchdown.
The kids found a way to win in every phase of the game, and that's what we felt we needed to beat a great Mesa team.
I get a lot of questions on how we schedule Cox high school football game of the week. One of the things that I tell people is that we'll put schools on that want to be on. It's not always the Chandlers, the Chaparrals, the Saguaros, the Centennials that get on, though we do, you know, obviously get them on. But we also will put on the Thunderbird High School team because they wanted to be on. They asked me to be on. The Greenway High School, Shadow Mountains, Campo Verdes. We find that if schools want to be on, that it's better because the schools are electric when you're there. They take care of you. You know, they cooperate. If you need something, they do that. So if a school wants to be on the Cox game of the week, we'll find a game to get them on.
You know, we love it. The atmosphere is always great. The kids are a little bit more excited. There's a little bit more energy in the air, a little bit more juice in the stadium, you know, when we're playing on Cox.
Guys definitely noticed the TV station was there and televising our games. Yeah, it was definitely a different feel. It was electric. You know, it was almost like you knew you had to play your best football in that moment.
Drops it off. Still going. Off to the races.
Playing on TV, you know you have to come different with your play because it's not just a regular Friday. You're playing on a broadcast that you go watch 10 years from now and you look in the back and say, oh, I could have made this play. So you got to have the mindset to just play with no regrets, just go 100% every single play.
Beautiful play call. Touchdown, Saguaro. Bever to Will Schaefer.
For some kids, high school football is going to be the pinnacle of their playing experience. And so to have the opportunity to play on live TV, for their family and friends to be able to tune in and watch it, for them to be able to go home after the game and pop on the DVR and watch it, you know, all 4 quarters and stay up until 1 a.m., getting the chance to see themselves play and maybe, you know, hopefully hearing their name called on television. It really is a unique, special thing.
Arizona has always put out, really good high school players, but I mean, not a whole lot of them. Players that really stand out to me in the Cox Game of the Week really started in kind of the late 90s with Terrell Suggs. People know Terrell Suggs as NFL Defensive Player of the Year for the Baltimore Ravens. Well, in Hamilton High School, Terrell Suggs was a running back. We did a game at McClintock High School, and McClintock was good. This was 1999. Suggs was a senior, but it was relatively early in the season, and he had a couple of pretty good games, but they weren't against great competition. Well, he comes into McClintock, and he runs for 360 plus yards and 4 scores in Hamilton, and that was kind of like the introduction, I think, in Arizona high school football with Terrell Suggs. There's been, some great players since Terrell as well that we've had, on the Cox Game of the Week. Christian Kirk is one that sticks out. Christian Kirk was a starter at Saguaro High School when he was a freshman. He was a 3-time All-State wide receiver. The guy was always the best player on the field. It didn't matter. You knew that guy was going to be a big-time player and was going to play on Sundays. Another one that a lot of people are familiar with now is Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler, who's now at University of Oklahoma and is, in a lot of people's view, the top candidate for the Heisman Trophy for this fall. Well, Spencer, same thing. 4-year starter at Pinnacle High School at quarterback, set state records for passing yards, was just phenomenal. And every time we had them on, he just was fantastic. I mean, not only throwing the ball, but the way that he carried himself, his poise, his leadership, all of that stuff was on display.
I think that Arizona high school football talent has come to the forefront because the competition level has rose, especially the open division. You're starting to see teams with kids that you might not have known from years before. I just feel like the energy has changed throughout Arizona high school football. Like, nobody wants to be mediocre anymore. Everybody wants to be able to get a state ring, get a state title. So be able to be the best, you got to compete against the best.
There through the Hamilton dynasty and all the players that came through there and how Chandler was kind of the second fiddle, and now to see that flip-flop, and now Chandler can't lose, and now it seems like they're both back, which is good for Arizona high school football.
We've had some great rivalries over the years. I mean, obviously the Tukey Bowl, Desert Vista and Mountain Point, Mountain View versus Mesa back in the day. St. Mary's has a great rivalry, or had a great rivalry with Brophy. They still play, but back in the day, it was a great rivalry. One rivalry that we've had probably more than any is Chaparral-Saguaro. That's a fantastic rivalry. I mean, sometimes we'll go out to Saguaro or Chaparral for that one, and there'll be 8,000, 10,000 fans at that one.
It's funny, coaches tend to remember the painful losses more than a lot of the wins, but the big win that jumped out at me, because we had already lost to McClintock High School in 1984 to open the season. McClintock was loaded. They had 9 kids go Division I. We had 1, and they thumped us pretty good in the season opener, and in the state semis, we beat them 24-7. And then we went on to my first state championship as a coach.
I remember Jalen Ortiz was a sophomore then. He went on to play at UCLA, and I said, "Come on, you're going in." I'm going in? Yeah, you're going to run this 49 pitch. That's to me. And I said, "Yes, go." That's to me, that's to me, that's to me. And he ran out there, he got the pitch. I was just glad that he got it, because that was his first time as a sophomore in a game, in a big game. He takes the ball, makes one guy miss, zooms down the sideline for a touchdown. And I talked to him about that when I see him. He said, "Coach, I can't even remember anything about that. I was so scared." I said, I felt like my feet weren't even hitting the ground.
Tonight marks the start of the second half of the regular season. In the Division III showdown, the 3-2 Greenway Demons host the 2-3 Sunrise Mountain Mustang.
I remember warming up for that Greenway game, having the TV crew there, and it was their homecoming game. It was my first start. I was a freshman.
Take a look at the freshman quarterback, Chase Cord. He got the call from James Carter this week and said, "You are my guy."
For some reason, I just found myself cool, calm, and collected that whole night. You know, typically I'll have butterflies each week before the games, and at this time I was locked in.
Shotgun snap, throws it deep, finds his receiver, number 23 down the field.
You know, the team played great, and we ended up winning that game, but I knew it was next man up mentality, and it was my turn to go out there and show them what I can do.
Typically on these home games, they are wearing white. Tonight, they are wearing green. For more on that, let's check in with Lindsey Smith.
The SaberCat community lost someone who was very near and dear to their hearts, Mike Tug Garcia.
Mike Tug Garcia, who was our equipment manager, passed away unexpectedly in 2013. Actually, the Monday of our game against Queen Creek that was on Cox. It was out of nowhere, kind of blindsided by it. It was a really emotional week, and we kind of had to rally our troops and get everybody bought back in. Queen Creek was very good that year. We kind of rallied around Tug and put green spats on and played a great game.
Tonight, to honor his name and not let his memory fade, the players are wearing green jerseys, and the rest of the school will be wearing these t-shirts as they remember Tug and all that he did for them.
It was emotional, and it was something that I'll never forget. To be able to go through that, to process a loss of somebody that was really important to not just our football program but our entire community. His family was at the game, and there was probably not a dry eye in our locker room before the game, and so it's just really special game, and to have that captured on television was for me personally was very special.
There's been lots of games, lots of great games that we've done over the years. One game that sticks out is the triple overtime Hamilton Mountain View game. Sun Devil Stadium, it was for the state championship. I mean, that was probably the best game that we ever did. And actually, we won an Emmy for that game, the only Emmy that high school football has ever won.
St. Thomas Aquinas comes here from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They are ranked number 3 in the country. Centennial, one of the top teams here in Arizona. It's going to be exciting to see all the high-level talent out on the field here tonight.
We were really proud to represent Arizona. We were proud to represent our school, to prove that Arizona could play against teams like that, and that we could play against teams like that.
Centennial offensively is led by Zidane Thomas.
Zidane had a great game, and Zidane never talked at all. He was one of the quietest, most humble players I've ever been around, with such great skill. And an interesting story about that, his mom had never seen him play. He was from Florida. Our boosters, I think, and some family members got money and brought her up here. And the winning touchdown, Zidane, he was about 45 yards out. He got hit at the line of scrimmage, spun, and outraced everybody to the goal line.
Touchdown Centennial!
And his mom was sitting down there in the little seats.
And the big play is the 56-yard touchdown run by the senior running back, Zidane Thomas. His mom is in the stands from Tampa watching him play in person for the first time.
You know, after that, all he said was, "Thank you, Coach." And nothing else needed to be said.
And the worst loss ever was in '94 to Horizon High School, because there were 24 seconds too long on the clock. We lost on a 4th, 7th play. Horizon just made an incredible make-up play. And our kids were as crushed as I've ever seen a football team, because it meant so much to them. We labeled our following season unfinished business as a result of those 24 seconds.
Healy, look, throw, touchdown, Tarek McDonald.
And we're able to come back and actually play Horizon in a state championship game the following year, and this time we won.
No, I never would have imagined that we'd be sitting here 40 years later and still operating with a passion for high school football. But I think it still just goes back to that core value of connecting people and connecting the community and building for the future, and that's why it's been important. That hasn't changed.
Well, hi again, everybody. Alongside the former Dallas Cowboy Dale Hillestray, I'm Kevin Ray. Beautiful night for football.
So many of those wonderful memories that you get to share, and knowing that we all delivered, this great content into these homes on a weekly basis, and getting the comment from the parent a week or two later, or maybe bumping into the kid or the coach, putting in a phone call, and telling you, hey, I thought you guys did a really great job on our game. You handled that situation beautifully. Can't thank you enough.
Cox, I think, has just promoted, elevated, honored football in such a way that I don't think we would be where we are as a state in football without you guys. And I don't think you get enough credit and enough thanks from everybody.
You guys have had a huge hand in elevating the game and putting it in front of people and allowing people from not just Arizona, not just from within the programs playing, but statewide and nationwide to be able to tune in and check it out. It's been awesome, and I know every year I look forward to the email and finding out which game we're gonna hopefully get, and I think we've been blessed. I think every year that I've been the head coach, we played in at least one game, so hopefully that tradition doesn't end anytime soon.
I look back on it, it's one of the greatest things in my career is participating in that, and I'm just so grateful for it.
36-0, Camelback won its ball game, 7-0. I'm very proud, and I'm very honored again that George asked me to be a part of it. And I tell you, 40 years, that seems impossible, but here we are 40 years later, and we're still talking about high school football on a Friday night on TV.
Wide open. They won't catch it. Ball is loose. Oh, what a catch. Down the sidelines. Touchdown. That's it. It's over. Boy, what a football game.